Sure. So tell me about your recruiting process back in high school. It's been a while, but from what I remember, I thought you had a slew of options. Obviously, being a 6'5" lefty, 6'6" lefty, whatever you are in high school, and you ended up picking Illinois State, more local school. I believe your sister went there. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, she did.
So you kind of had a good understanding of the school a little bit, but kind of why'd you pick it? Obviously you had different options, but what was your time like? And during the middle of it, actually, from I believe it was your junior or senior year, you had a coaching change.
Yeah,
Uh,
our freshman, sophomore to junior year. Yeah.
Sophomore to junior year, and you had a coaching change, and you actually changed up your mechanics, I believe, your release point. You used to be a very Chris Sale down here in high school in your first couple of years in
Yep.
college. And then they changed you from very over the top and get a little more with downhill with your 6'6" frame. But kind of tell me about that recruiting process a little bit.
Yeah, so it was crazy. I know freshman year, I was big into basketball, I was big into baseball, and I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do, but I heard great things about the Rhinos, so I decided to give it a shot, and I tried out, and I loved it. It was great. I mean, I played my first season, had a blast, met a bunch of new guys, and it's kind of something I stuck with. And sophomore year, I remember talking to you guys and saying, college baseball is definitely something I'd want to do, and you guys said I had the potential to do it, and we kind of just worked together and made that happen. And I think sophomore year is when I first started you'd see schools looking at you, or you could contact, or schools would kind of reach out to your coaches about you. That's a good feeling when you're a sophomore in high school. And I think that also helped push me, to see how much better I can make myself. And by junior year, I think I had about 8 or 9 different offers. And I chose Illinois State just because I took baseball out of it for a second and said, where do I want to spend the next 4 years of my life? And where do I want to live? Where do I feel most comfortable?
Sure.
Off the field and on the field. What team is going to give me the best chance to play? Because no matter where you go, you want to be somewhere where you can play and show what you're capable of.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, Illinois State gave me a great opportunity to do so. I was able to start by the third weekend of my freshman year and was pretty much a starting pitcher ever since. And yeah, it was a great organization. I made a lot of close friends that I still talk to every day. And it's different, this year being away from those guys and, having to watch their games and live stream them from Florida. But it's still fun to root for those guys, and they're all my friends still. They're still there. So it's a really cool experience all around.
It's awesome. Yeah, I just had a conversation with Christian Beal, and we just sent this out, his interview the other day, and he had talked about the same thing, about finding a fit for that 4 years that you're going to love it there, and you're going to love the coaching staff, and you have a good feeling about the place. He had the opportunity to go live out a dream and go play in the Ivy Leagues. That was always his dream out of high school, and he ended up kind of turning it down and ended up going to a college called Bates College because he absolutely loved the coach, and he played for him over in Europe, and he's having the time of his life right now, and he's just killing it over there. But I think that goes for anybody, whether you're a D1 player, D2, D3, JUCO player. You got to find a fit that you truly love, and you're going to be there for the next 2 to 4 years. And hopefully those coaches kind of become that father figure that we kind of talked about in the last kind of interview we had. But I think you going there and being local, and your parents being able to see you, and us being able to be around you, it was awesome, because I think that at the end of the day really matters quite a bit. So I'm glad that was your choice, and obviously it worked out pretty well for you.
Yeah.
How, if you were to be able to tell all these Rhino alumni that are kind of watching this right now, whether they're 7 years old, whether they're 15 years old, whether they're 18 years old, what's one of the big regrets that you could go back and go, man, I wish I would have done this differently as a baseball player, academically, whatever the case was? What's kind of a piece of advice you'd be able to say, guys, if I could go back, this is what I would do differently?
I wouldn't say much regrets. I don't regret anything, just because I know you learn from everything, mistakes, all the good things. You learn from everything in a different way. But I mean, something that I wish I could go back and maybe tack more on is the weight room side. It's just, you hear that over and over again, but it's true. It's just, that's what makes a difference in most guys. It's not just how big you can get, but it's how good you are on the field. It just helps recovery. You're just better on the field. And I think that's something that I didn't take enough time with. And another thing is, don't take the time you have on the field for granted. Because I know when you're in high school, you're like, man, I'm going to college. But once you get to college, you look back and go, man, I missed that high school team. And now I'm here. It's like, man, you still miss those guys from college. So it's another thing. Once you just always, never take it for granted because injuries can happen too. I've had a couple of injuries where it's like, man, there's nothing you wouldn't do just to be back out on the field again. But you're sitting there, recovering, and different things happen, and it's part of the game. But definitely don't take it for granted. Just keep working hard, and it'll pay off.
Yeah, I want all our players to know that I swear before these conversations that I don't tell you what to say whatsoever. And literally every time that we have these conversations or these interviews, the first thing that everyone always says, like, I just wish I would have hit the weights harder back in high school.
Yeah,
It's literally the one thing that everyone says. It's either that and or grades, right? But you were a very good student, and you hit the books hard. But the most common thing is I wish I would have hit the weights harder. And I think that hopefully resonates with our players, hearing it from guys who were super successful in high school, who really successful in college, and now having, trying to make a career out of it in the pros. And I hope that it really hits home with our guys. And it's true, man. Baseball ends. It does for everyone at some point. And I think for a lot of these seniors that are out there this year, playing, either high school baseball or college baseball, whether you're a senior, either which one, baseball just got snatched away from them.
yeah,
And I bet you that's one of their regrets. Maybe is looking back at this and going, man, it did end for me, and it got taken away from me. And I know myself and Coach Blazing and everyone in our program who played the game. We wish we could go back and play. And there's a lot of times during practice I'll grab my glove or I'll get in the cage and actually swing it too, because we love the game and we want to be part of it. And I hope our players really take that to heart and play 110% every single time. And that's the biggest piece of advice that you hear from guys a lot of times too.
yeah, for sure. Because the second you start looking too far ahead, is the second you forget about the moment you're in. I think that's the biggest thing, is just stay in the moment. You can't look too far ahead at what's going to come at the end of the season or what's going to come at the end of the week. You just got to kind of enjoy it while you have it. Because like you just said, a lot of guys just lost it with the coronavirus going around, things like that. And it's a tough situation. It really is.
Yeah, for sure. Well, dude, I don't want to waste too much of your night, even though you probably got absolutely nothing to do.
Yeah.
You're probably sitting at home. But hey, I appreciate you coming on. I hope our players can take some advice from me here through this video. And I always appreciate. I know Coach Blazing always appreciates how much of an advocate you are for Rhino baseball and jumping on stuff like this anytime I ask. And we do appreciate it, man.
No, I appreciate you guys having me. Thank you. If there's anything I can do to help, just let me know.